Welcome to the Trades Podcast, a podcast about the business of home improvement and promoting the trades to young adults. In this podcast, we talk with business owners, educators, and professionals about the benefits, skills, and related experiences of the home improvement business. Tips to help you with being successful from entry into the trades or established business owners. In this podcast, we hope to influence some young adults that the trades as a career is a great option leading to full and prosperous life. I'm Danny Torres, an MC, DJ, and podcaster, inspiring young adults by shining light onto career opportunities in our world today.
And I'm Jeff Mudd, home improvement contractor, writer of the Millionaire Carpenter series, and podcaster.
Stay tuned to 15 to 20 minutes of insightful tips.
Happy days, everybody. Here we are at the Ignite BBB podcast studio. I'm Danny, DJ Danny.
And I'm Jeff Mudd. Yeah, we missed Danny our last month doing recordings. I totally felt like a little kid with a new phone, didn't know how to use the equipment, got a lot of help from the BBB staff here. Julie,
Yeah.
She was awesome. We missed you, Danny, but
Yes.
Life goes on, bud. We're here today, rock and
right.
roll.
That's
We
right.
got a great guest, Mike Stratton.
Mike Stratton, SSCI Structures. I was fumbling the full name of SSCI, but if you could, please introduce yourself to everybody and let everybody know exactly about SSCI.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. SSCI stands for Stratton Specialty Contracting, Inc. So I created a DBA, SSCI Structures, just a little easier off the tongue.
That's
I guess.
perfect.
Yeah.
No,
Awesome.
But you had your name in the business. It's yours. It's your baby. It's tell us a little bit about the history of how you got up to the SSCI.
Well, I started the company in 2019, just, essentially created the entity. So I wanted to create the entity first before I went and got my license, so I could just assign the license straight to the entity and not have to, I guess, reverse engineer it.
Awesome.
After
So
the fact.
license, we're assuming you have contractor's license there?
Yeah, I thanks for clarifying. I got yes, I have a General B, general contractor's license. I also have a C8 specialty concrete license.
Awesome. Here in California.
Correct.
Required contractor's license to do work here in California.
Right.
Nice. Yeah. No, I mean, that's key. I mean, that's the whole beauty of the Trades podcast that we have is just being able to get familiar with business owners in the trades industry, bringing you in so you can really let everybody know about the climate of your industry, what you do on a daily basis, what it looks like. And I mean, we haven't had a concrete specialist on the podcast yet. So like that it's such a niche, field. What's, how did you find yourself, moving towards that very specific field?
Well, I've been working with my hands since I was a little kid, but towards the end of college, in college I worked for a contractor during the summers, just make a little money. He was a concrete guy, so I kind of got my feet wet in the business there. And then when I graduated from college, the economy was rough. It was 2011, I think, still kind of recovering from the recession. And, and I didn't have a specific degree in construction management or anything. I just kind of got my general studies degree, took a few construction management courses. But so I decided I'd pair my college education with some field experience. So I went into the field into an apprenticeship. I did about a year of commercial wood framing, and then got into the union, which primarily does heavy concrete work for the carpenters. There's actually two separate sections of carpenters. There's like the interior guys that do the metal framing and drywall, and then there's exterior, which primarily is just building concrete formwork for large commercial buildings. So I got into that. This was back up in Portland, Oregon, and working my way up in the company from an apprentice to a journeyman to a foreman to a general foreman, and then got into actually some seismic retrofitting and structural upgrades. So I was running a project at a hospital in Portland, just there was concrete involved, steel involved, and then a lot of these
sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So through all that, I just kind of gained a love for concrete. It's cool. It's I like it because it's a building material that can essentially be formed into any shape imaginable. It's essentially a fluid rock. You know, you form it up, pour it, and then it turns into a rock of whatever shape and size you'd like.
Yeah, and I'm sure you go back to Oregon, right?
Yeah.
In Oregon, I'm sure you go back to Oregon, you see things that you were, working on, and,
and
it's still there,
Yeah, there's a 30-story tower that was the primary project I was on. When I was an apprentice, and then I graduated the apprenticeship into a journeyman and became a foreman, all on that same project. So it's right off the 405 bridge. You can see it's this 30-story glass tower. It's really cool. So that's a really cool part of the trades, is being able to see the some of the work you do around town.
Yeah, no, and that's good. And so 2011 was around that time you said that you jumped into that field.
Yeah, 2011 is when I went into the trades, right after I got back from Afghanistan. So as soon as I graduated college, I got deployed for 6 months in Afghanistan. And then when I got back is when I started the apprenticeship. So it may have been around 2012 that I started the apprenticeship, did a year of wood framing. And so roughly 2013 is when I got into concrete pretty much full time.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service. Shout out to all the veterans out there for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you chose a field that, like you said, you saw something that can literally be used almost on every project that involves construction, building a house, building, high, buildings and everything. So, what's the favorite job that you see yourself doing right now that you're like really looking to dive into, and what's your favorite thing, part of the job right now?
With my business currently?
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting into a lot of flat work applications, which is essentially what it sounds like: driveways or patios or walkways or even commercial floors. And I like it because there's not a ton of labor up front in setting up the job. Typically, you can get a grader in there to remove dirt or move around dirt or compact it. And then you just basically set up the edge forms around the perimeter and make sure they're all at the proper elevations. And then you get a crew of concrete finishers out and coordinate the concrete pump and the truck and just make it happen in, the pours in a day. And so what I really like about that work is it's kind of, you get in, you get the job done, and you get out and on to the next. Yeah. And the finishers that I've started to build up a good network of finishers, and they do really good work. Really, it's just, and it's cool to see the finished product when it's all done.
Absolutely, yeah. You mentioned the types of concrete that there is out there, Mike. When I was at the International Builder Show this last January, they had a huge boom truck, I guess you call it, pumping concrete and doing 3D printing with concrete.
Oh, wow.
Building dome houses.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really awe-inspiring. It really was. There's so much you could do with concrete. Yeah, and I mentioned before, I did a little side job in Texas, man. The concrete I failed on. Oh, totally failed. Multiple pitches. Half of it was in the shade. Half of it was in the baking sun. I just failed miserably on it.
That's
so
tough.
My hat's off to the guys. Let's do some beautiful work out there.
Yeah. So I mean, awesome. and that obviously you had to go back and repair something like that, would you?
We actually coated over it with a nice texture and color.
There we go.
It made it blend to the house, but an extra expense. And you had to wait 30 days for the concrete to cure.
Yeah, because I mean that covers one part of I can imagine for the businesses. The flat. You said it was the flat jobs.
Yeah, flat work is kind of the term.
The flat work, and then because I mean, there's going to be the other side where some people don't want a full new driveway. How often do you see yourselves, you and your company doing like repairs, and when is it needed, and what type of work goes into that?
Yeah, often. Actually, yesterday just finished up a little driveway repair. So probably a 50-year-old driveway, and some roots had caused heaving, and then they were settling in other areas. So we took and then at the apron, or in other words, where the driveway ties into the street, it was really uneven. Their cars were scraping on it. So we took out about 150 square feet of concrete and regraded it, set up some forms, and then poured new concrete. So now you have a uniform surface. It's more for function over aesthetic, because you have new concrete next to old concrete, and it's not going to, the textures and the colors are going to be totally different. Yeah. But it functions for them. They can drive their cars in there and not scrape the bottom of their cars. And then in addition, we put a trench drain right at the garage. They had water run into the garage. So things like that I love doing as well. Replacement scopes or repair scopes like that they're a little bit easier to do, because you have this old concrete that's been sitting on the soil and compacting it over however many years. And so you pretty much have pre-compacted subgrade. You just have to do minor grading and filling, and then do your repairs. So.
Little tie into the existing slabs if necessary.
Right. Yeah. I do what's called dry doweling in those situations. Essentially, I'll drill a 1/2-inch hole, and then you pound a dowel of 1/2-inch rebar into that hole tight. So it's not a structural application, because it's a driveway. It's not, there's no engineering that goes into it. But essentially, it's cheap insurance that prevents settling, future settling, right? Because you have
keeps the
rebar continuously going through both slabs, the old and the new.
Yep. Yeah, done a little bit of that.
That's perfect. And I mean, Mike, you're coming in the studio. I wish everybody can see us, on video. We might grab some video towards the end. Oh, but great. You're a young guy.
Yeah.
How old are you right now?
I'm 33.
33. I met your little boy.
Yeah.
The other week at our social, our networking group social, and I met your wife and everything. I mean, you have to have like some sort of, really positive, feeling of having your own business. You're starting your family. And can you kind of go into a little bit more about, what that experience is like right now of being 31? 33. I was trying to give you 2 years younger. It's okay. But, what's that experience been like of you owning your business, especially in the trades, how compelling has it been for you and the family?
It's good and it's stressful. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure sometimes. As I'm sure, Jeff, that there's sometimes long days and late nights.
Sometimes it's hard to have that work-life balance.
Yes.
How's that working for you?
So that's what I struggle with. And so I do the best I can to get home at 5 or 5:30, kind of put the work aside until, the family goes to bed. And then sometimes I'll stay up late and work on estimates or miscellaneous admin stuff. But, and I don't work on the weekends. That's kind of a hard line that I drew.
Very good.
Just because of that work-life balance. It's really, I'm doing all this for me and my family, and if I'm not able to, spend any time with them, well, what's the point of it all? Yeah. So work hard during the week and enjoy the weekends. That's kind of the way it is. But yeah, it's been good. It allows me a little bit of freedom. All my other jobs, no matter how much responsibility they gave me, I always just kind of felt like I was in a cage, I guess. So it allows me that freedom. I think professionally I'm happier than I've ever been. So that's good as far as the family goes. I get home from work and I'm...
What'd you say you have, Mike, little boy?
Yeah, he's almost 2.
Okay.
His name's Bennett.
Cool. So I had 2 boys myself, and one of the things I really benefited from owning my own business was the freedom to, hey, if I want to pick them up from school and take them to baseball practice or take a 4-day weekend, go do Boy Scouts with the other one, and the business allowed me that kind of freedom and flexibility.
That's the goal. I'm fairly early in the business, but I'm working towards that. Yeah, kind of systematizing things and putting things in place that allow me to peel away for a day or 2 or a couple of weeks here and there to enjoy myself.
Absolutely. Very good.
And either way, it's one of those where we've talked about it in the podcast where we need a lot more, younger, aged business owners that need to start building up their companies just like you are right now. And because, the age difference in trades, whether you're a veteran or you've been in it for however long, the age difference is just drastically very different from any trade. And we're looking to promote the trades podcast to a lot of younger generation, anybody that's getting out of high school, or just like you mentioned, you went to college, and if they have experience in the trades, why not jump into it? What type of employees do you have right now, and what type of employees are you looking for to like possibly start working with you?
So the employees that I have currently are concrete finishers. So I put them on payroll, and I bring them on as needed to do the finishing of the concrete. I had a couple employees. I had a carpenter and laborer working for me a few months back, and business got slow and had to lay them off. So from that point until now, I've been using day labor services to supplement on site, and myself, with myself as supervision, and we've been doing that. But it's really not a sustainable model. I'm just kind of getting through my backlog right now. And the reason it's not sustainable is because they're not my employees. I get new people every time. They don't really know how things work. They require a lot of attention and almost micromanaging.
Right.
So that's the way it's set up right now.
Yeah.
But certainly some full-time employees are on the horizon in the near future.
Well, that's good. And on that part, obviously it might be up in the air of where, what type of employees you might be looking for, what you need at that point. But, there's a lot of technology, I think, that goes behind your business. Can you kind of talk about how technology helps your business and how easy it is to kind of pick it up, being at the age that you're at right now?
Yeah. So on the admin side, you're talking?
Or when you're out on the job, depending.
Okay. Yeah. So on the back, like on the admin side, there's a lot of softwares out there, a multitude of them. I've tried quite a few, but they really kind of aggregate all your admin operations. So all the estimates go through the software, invoicing and payments go through the software, scheduling, let's see here, purchase orders, even things like that. So it's all integrated into one platform. It really helps kind of make it easier for me to sit down, pull up the software, and just work through my list of things.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of nuances to them and a learning curve. So it takes an investment of time up front to learn the software and learn its capabilities and how it works, and in order to make it more efficient. But yeah, I've been really investing time into that, and it's been paying off. I've been making things flow a lot better.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So even while you're out in the field, though,
yeah.
I'm old enough to where I can remember using a water level on some flat work.
Yeah.
Helping out when I first got in the business.
That's amazing.
I imagine you're not using a water level.
We're not using a water level. We use lasers these days.
Okay.
So,
and even the lasers have gone through transitions. So
yeah.
Now they're digitally. They tell you how far you're off your percentage points. Now.
Yeah. The lasers we use for flat work especially are a rotating laser. They stand on a tripod, and they basically broadcast a level laser line in a perimeter. And then you have a receiver, and the receiver picks up on the elevation. So it tells you up or down, and tells you how much up or how much down, and it's connected to a rod. So you use that to set your elevations, and it has quite a range, a couple hundred feet.
Yeah, and equipment like that. So hypothetically, imagine you had an employee go out there using this technology. Would you think they would be able to pick it up? With experience and training, would they be able to pick it up pretty quick?
It depends on their aptitude.
Yeah.
And when I first got into the trades, I kind of got right into that sort of stuff, the whole layout section of concrete.
Yeah.
And actually, I was involved in my prior employers in working with these robotic systems called a total station. They're connected to CAD software, and you can triangulate its location, and then you have a rod that you move around the job site, and it tells you exactly where the points are at. So I haven't used any of those yet in my business. They're very expensive, $10,000 or $20,000, pieces of equipment. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. And actually, I have a buddy back home in Portland who is working with a virtual reality technology that's coming out in the trades, and it's essentially you can put on these goggles and look around a job site that's unfinished and see where the finished fixtures go, or where there may be a conflict between the concrete and the framing or something like that.
Wow.
There's some really advanced stuff out there.
There really is technology on the new builds, the high rises, things like that. It definitely is mind blowing. That's for sure. And I've seen a thing. It's almost like a drone would go through. During the building stage, and it was specifically I was watching the ductwork. How's that laying out compared to where the walls are supposed to be, and the tie-ins and the registers and stuff. There's something called BIM, or Building Information Management, and it ties into CAD, 3D CAD software. And the MEP trades use it the most, because there's all these ducts and pipes and wires, and they all kind of run into each other up in the interstitial space in the ceilings. And so it's really important to have that technology to streamline the process of coordinating all these different trades. Yeah, can't just put a big old dent in the ductwork so the pipe will pass through.
Can't drill through it either.
No, that's amazing. I mean, like you said, technology is always changing, always adjusting, and use it for more needs and better needs and all that. So
there's other things. There's power, and I'm not sure how new this technology is, but specifically in concrete, there's these power screeds that make things. There's even laser screeds. So what a screed is you pour the concrete out of the truck, and then the old school way is use a 2x4 to level it out, from each side of the form. Now they have these screeds that connect to the lasers, so the laser will broadcast its level line, and this vibrating screed will stay at the right elevation and screed the concrete flat.
Wow.
And so you see some of these companies using it on large projects, because it's always a challenge, especially in a large footprint, to get everything nice and level.
Yeah, you can't have that 40-foot 2x4
with
no sag in it. And
Exactly.
I know what you're talking about, Mike, too. It also helps with the finishing process. It makes it go
Absolutely.
a lot faster, too.
Yeah, and in addition to that, there's all sorts of chemicals on the market that are constantly coming out or being updated to help in the finishing process. There's chemicals to slow down the evaporation of the surface water for really hot days. There's chemicals that just aid in the finishing process to create a better finished product. There's penetrating chemicals that'll, after it's finished, you spray it on there, and it degrades the top layer so that you can spray it off, pressure wash it off, and expose the rock aggregate in the concrete. So all sorts of things. As far as technology, I think that all kind of ties in a little bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. And great information, everything that that you brought up, everything that you've been just really letting us know more about your industry, your company, SSCI, and it's a career that, like you mentioned, that you feel like you're just even touching on the surface of right now.
Scratching the surface.
Yeah, just scratching. Because say, it'd be one thing where I haven't met a concrete specialist in my lifetime, but where do you see your career and say your business going in the future? Where do you see it kind of moving towards?
Well, I want to grow. Obviously, we kind of touched on it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Putting things and employees and systems in place to allow for the people and the systems to manage the business, so I can take a step back and be more of a big picture type figure in the business. Mm-hmm. So I see the business growing. I see a fleet of trucks. I see getting into some larger commercial work as my cash flow will allow, and my reputation gets out there to bring me the opportunities. I'm in the process now of working on an acquisition deal right now, and this is, I think, very relevant to your podcast. There's a lot of businesses out there owned by baby boomers, some of the older generation, and they're getting old and they're getting to retirement age.
Yeah.
And so they like to cash out of their business. They, don't want to close the doors. If they don't have kids that they're going to pass it on to, well, then they're going to sell it. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity for younger entrepreneurial people, especially in the trades, I would think, because like you mentioned, there's such a gap between kind of the older generation and the newer guys. It's kind of almost like a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the direction I'm going. I'm looking to acquire a small concrete business.
Amazing.
I'll get a couple employees and a lot of connections and a large network of concrete finishers with that, and really allow me to step back into more of an owner role, get out of the field, save my back a little bit, but really do what I set out to do, which is to kind of manage and grow a business.
Yeah.
And when you're kind of stuck out in the field swinging a hammer, it's really hard to make those steps forward. So I kind of see it as a bit of a shortcut into that
smart move, Mike. Very
role.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike came in here with a little dust on his arms, doing a foundation inspection. It's
Yep.
like, man, don't worry about it. You're looking good.
Yeah. Remember, it's only recording, not a video. So, but trust me, he's the young looking guy right now, Mike Stratton. And we told you earlier that we're going to put you in our first segment of 5 in 5. Are you ready?
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire, right here, ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen.
let's do it.
It's 5 in 5. Something
You
we're
got a
gonna-
timer?
I'll throw a timer down. I got you down. No worries.
Okay, gotcha.
And then, we'll probably have Jeff take over this because he was the brains behind this one right here.
So you got new employees coming on. Some of the attributes of new employees. We're going to give you a little phrase, Mike. You
Okay.
tell us what it means to you and what the employee should be thinking about when you mention this phrase to them. So
yeah. So
Okay.
right here.
you ready?
Let's okay.
All
Right. First one right here.
All right. Have a positive attitude.
What does that mean to me?
Yeah.
It's so important, especially with employees, and people that I've worked with in the past. It makes the day go better, go by faster. It brings camaraderie to the crew when people have a good attitude and they're not kind of complaining about everything. As an owner, when I have a good attitude, it helps the employees or the people working under me have a good attitude, and then I think mistakes are minimized, and the customer is happier because the customer sees everything reflects back on the customer. And so when we all have a positive attitude, good things happen. And my ultimate goal on every project is to have a happy customer.
Awesome.
And-
I love it, Mike.
yeah.
I'm gonna cut you off there, man. You nailed it right at 1 minute.
Yep.
Team player.
Nice.
Team player.
Oh, what does that mean to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Team player. Well, in the construction industry, it's not a one-man shop. You might have a handyman here or there, but as a contractor, a concrete contractor, you're always working with other people in a crew. And so when you have a team player, somebody who can recognize that, well, this guy needs help, let me jump in and help without having to be told. That's kind of what I think of a team player. Somebody who just has their eyes on the rest of the crew and is invested in the success, the cohesive success of the crew, and not necessarily just showing up to get their check.
Nice.
So that's the ideal employee. And if you could let me know where to find some of those,
Yeah. No, anybody
I'll head
listening.
straight there.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what? There's a lot of people out there, Mike.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure
It's
there
a
is.
matter
Yeah.
of finding them and convincing them that the trades are a good career for them.
Yeah.
Third one, go above and beyond.
Above and beyond. That's a big one for me. I meet and exceed expectations is always a goal, and so it's essentially the same thing. If there's a little extra cleanup to do that maybe doesn't even tie into what we did, taking care of little details for the customer, providing a high level of communication, to me, all of that is going above and beyond for the customer. So we have our defined scope of work that we're contracted to do, and then obviously we want to meet that baseline, and then anything above and beyond that is just icing on the cake. And a lot of times it really doesn't cost much in time or material or money or labor, but I think it pays dividends in getting those happy customers, and that's my take on it.
You nailed it, my friend.
Awesome.
You nailed it.
Nice.
Number 4, be a lifelong learner.
Lifelong learner. Man, these are great ones. I love learning. And I'm constantly learning. Everything, because a lot of the guys I work with, especially some of the concrete finishers, are a lot older than me. And my past employees, they were all older than me. Even the people that I managed when I was a foreman back in Portland, older than me. And these guys have tricks to the trade, and they're always teaching you stuff. And so as an owner, I try to humble myself and not be the guy who knows it all, and just learn. So there's all sorts of tricks to the trade that you're constantly learning, things to be more efficient in the field, things to create a better finished product. And you can always learn from the people around you, especially your employees. I'm not the go-to guy. I own the business, but I'm not the best carpenter in the world. I'm not the best concrete finisher in the world, and I defer to other people who are professionals and can work for me and with me and make us all look good. Right.
Great attitude.
Awesome.
Attitude.
Yeah.
All right, closing out. Time management.
Time management. That's a tough one. Not to answer, but it's something that I struggle with.
Need some time to think about that.
Yeah. Especially in the trades as a contractor, because there's two sides to the business. You have these projects that you're contracted to execute. And so that becomes the main priority during the day, is to execute the work and get it done. It's when you're in a position like I am, where I'm still spending a lot of time in the field. So that consumes a lot of my time, and I tend to get behind on admin stuff. And so that's a constant struggle for me, is trying to juggle those two. A lot of times it means staying up at night or getting up early in the morning and trying to take care of it. A lot of it means I need to get employees to take care of that stuff in the field, so I can manage the business more. Mm-hmm. And a business coach I have they call it buying back your time at a discount. So you're paying an employee $30 an hour to do something that, as an owner, I don't know, I'd say I'm worth $100 an hour, right? So if you play your cards right, you can manage your time better by hiring good people. Mm-hmm. And so that's the direction I'm trying to go in order to kind of mitigate this situation I'm in, where I'm kind of in this whirlwind trying to manage the field up against the admin side of the business.
Perfect. 5 and 5 right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom.
5 and 5. Rapid fire.
Winner.
A lot of great tips from Mike Stratton there.
Yeah.
On, how to run your business, what to expect out of employees. I love that, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Going above and beyond is always key, just like you mentioned. And, just whenever it doesn't even involve the work that you're doing, you just never know who's watching, who's going to notice it. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's really about, who you are as a person, as a business, and how you guys want to be reflected in that part. So you're already at the starting point of, having some great employees, I can already tell, in the future. So
We're getting there.
Especially if they're going to be trained and taught by you, man. So, man, it was amazing to have you here at the Trades Podcast studio, at the Ignite, BBB Ignite studio.
We're all done, huh?
Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up right here.
Right.
And then, so like you said, you might be looking for people to work for, that you need for work. If they want to reach out to you, what's the best way that they can find you, reach out to you, and inquire about anything concrete specialist needs?
Well, I would say if you go to my website,
Mm-hmm.
SSCI Structures.com, there's ways to contact me there. You could look me up on Google, my Google page, and get the phone numbers there. I could give my phone number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's up to you. If you want them to reach out directly to you.
Sure.
At the
Yeah.
Trades Podcast, there's a lot of other business owners that listen to us, and you never know,
Great.
Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put out your phone number,
Just
man.
get my direct cell is 619-268-1252. You can also email me, Mike at SSCIstructures.com. I have an Instagram. I'll be totally honest. I don't really know how to use it. My wife gets on there from time to time, so
Yeah.
you hit me up on there, but it might be a lag in response.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still learning too, my friend.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
No, it's a things that we've talked about in the past where it's going to be a crucial thing for any business, but you have one, so that's a good start. So, but so it's great to have you again, Mike.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming down.
For having me. This is cool.
Yeah, very educational to our listeners, Mike. Thank you for coming down.
Well, I hope I provided some value here.
Absolutely. No, it was perfect. It was perfect. Thanks again. You know, for anybody that's again listening, reach out to Mike. And if you want to learn a little bit more, or if you want to partner up in business or maybe another acquisition, Mike might be ready. So,
All right.
Thanks.